What I want to do is to recognize the man of the hour. I mean, this is something that you capture lightning in a jug, you know what I mean, and then it shines. And so you have electricity. He lit up the place tonight. He is a man that is a very humble young man. He is a man that is a guy that is a Christian. He is a guy that loves God, and he knows how to. What he did tonight is he proved that he could box against all the doubters, all those who were the naysayers, all those who were the disbelievers. He made believers out of them tonight. The heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield, 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. Congratulations, champ. This is your hour. God bless you, and keep on keeping on.
First of all, I'd like to give thanks to Jesus Christ, the Lord, my Savior. You know, I came into this fight, and you know, I was led by the Spirit, and I'm also thankful. All my life is praying is not a thing I just started. I've been praying all my life, and you know, I always believed in God. And you know, throughout my career, you know, there were certain people who always challenged me, and I thank Mike Tyson for giving me the opportunity to challenge him. I never, ever in my life ever had any dislike for Mike. My whole thing is I realized this is boxing, but I got love for everybody. And you know, I've watched Mike fight ever since 1982 in Indianapolis. We won the Golden Glove together in '84, and you know, I watched him train, and I realized that a lot of people didn't give Mike credit for how hard he worked. And I realized that at some point in time that my goal would always be was to be the heavyweight champion of the world. I just started growing late. And you know, and I watched Mike, and I realized that nobody could beat Mike. And it's not so much that I wanted to challenge him just to challenge him, but I realized to be the heavyweight champion of the world that I'm gonna have to fight the best man, and I always prepare myself to fight the best man. Every time Mike fought, I always watched him, and I realized that Mike had a style that could nobody cope with. I realized that Mike moved to the left, right, and shake people off, then to catch him. You know, and upon me being a heavyweight champion of the world, when I lost the title, I got it back, and when Mike went away, I kind of lost the desire. I lost something when Mike was gone, and because my whole thing, I felt that wasn't nobody there that really got me up to fight, and which I took really both for granted, and he proved that you can't take nobody for granted. And so, you know, my whole thing, I take my hat off to Mike. You know, I didn't just go in there myself to fight Mike. You know, I thank God, and I prayed. You know, I prayed before all the time during training. We had prayer section. I prayed when I got up in the ring. I prayed when I was fighting him. Because one thing is this, I realized what I was facing. My whole thing is that when I come to fight, I bring everything with me. I knew that I would have to pray to be in there and to be with the man. And so it didn't bother me because I let everybody know I'm a praying person. I love to pray. And when I come into the ring, I'm going to bring everything with me that's going to help me to get the job done. And I give credit, and I thank my trainers, all my trainers, Don Turner, Tim Hallmark, Tommy Brooks, my nephew Mike, and all these people, because one thing no one realizes that when I was training for this fight, that my sparring partner was whooping me up, Gary Bell, and he was just whooping me up, and it was discouraging to know that you're supposed to be fighting Mike Tyson. You can't get past the sparring partner. You can't go number 2 or 3 rounds. It was discouraging, but I prayed and I got through it, and I had people that behind me just said, well, Evander, come on, it'll get better. And usually I would train 6 weeks or 8 weeks for the fight. No, this time I trained about 15 to 16 weeks for this fight. I knew what I was into, and I was going to be prepared. I was going to be prepared, and it didn't make any difference what everybody said I couldn't do. One thing in life I want you all to know, you can count me out, but I believe in Jesus. Because I believe in Jesus, I can get over things. I have lost 2 times, lost the title 2 times, and I knew the only thing that would ever stop me if I quit on myself. And one thing I would like to say, when Mike fought Buster Douglas, when he was on the airplane, I told Mike, I said, you'll be the champ again. Same way you got it that time, you can get it back again. I have love for everybody. Boxing is a game, and I just want to give my best each and every time I get out there. But I always want to touch somebody's life, to let somebody know it's not so much being a boxer, it's just so much when a challenge come up, you have to face that challenge and you have to give your all. And that's my word to the world, because there's a lot of kids out there scared to face challenges. They don't come out the ghetto because people tell them they can't. So when you believe in Jesus and believe in yourself, you can get over it. And that was my message. And I thank Mike Tyson. I thank the whole Tyson crew for giving me an opportunity, because, you know, no one go nowhere without an opportunity. I'm not here by myself. I'm here because God has blessed me to have people who believe in me, who love me, and then look at me in the gym and say, boy, Holyfield is washed up. Because I know they could have said that, because Gary Bell put a whooping on me a lot of days in there. You know, it was kind of sad, but he did. But you know what? I didn't quit. I realized if I just get through that and get to the fight, I'll be able to do something different. And I had to trust the Lord to go through it. And I thank everybody, and I thank all you writers who doubted me, because you know what? I'm the type of person to take something that down and I use it as something to boost me. And I read them paper, and yeah, and I'm not mad with you. And I read them paper, and I'm using it to fuel me, because when people start doubting me, this when God get a chance to show up and push me ahead. So I thank everybody, you know, and I thank Don King, and most of all, I thank Main Events, because Main Events were with me in '84, and Main Events is the one that kind of like brought me through it. And a lot of people told me I shouldn't talk about Jesus, because I talk about Jesus, but I kept talking about Jesus. But I know that if I just continue to fight, and one thing I can say, I'll fight anybody. It don't make no difference. It's not about losing to me. It's about me giving my all, because each and every time I fight, my kids are watching me, and the only thing I want to tell them, I gave my all. You know, my son cried when I lost against Reddy Bowe. He cried when I lost against Michael Moore. But I told him, I gave my all. You can hold your head up high, and you can always, if you want to come back, you can always get it, because you know how you got there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Evander. The words of a true champion. He talked the talk, he walked the walk. And what we want to do here tonight is to show you that boxing is on the move, and it's going to continue to be on the move. We are going to let you know tonight, I got people here from Nashville, and the title that was removed from us by decree, we will now fight for in Nashville on January the 11th. That's Lennox Lewis and Oliver McCall. They will get it on, and we're going to have it at the Nashville Arena, and we have in store for you something that we're working on is a great music show that will come along with the fighting.
So Don King called Evander Holyfield the man of the hour. And presumably it was because it took that long for him to introduce him. We heard from everybody on the undercard, but when we finally did hear from Evander Holyfield, it sounded more like a sermon than a victory speech. It may have been, and I guess we've all known Evander since 1984, since the Olympics, and he's a soft-spoken guy. But I must tell you, that was the most animated I have ever seen Holyfield at any time that I've been around him.
We don't think of Evander Holyfield as an especially eloquent man. He is simply spoken. I think this soliloquy that he delivered here tonight, and I hope it gets replayed over and over again as much as it can be replayed on the news around the United States. I think this was an impassioned plea from him to say, please, I am a great champion, and I'm a guy that loves this sport, and just remembered me that way.
Mike Tyson was awfully gracious tonight, although his aides were not necessarily. He certainly was.
Well, it's funny, Charlie, what a loss will do to your humility, and certainly Mike Tyson was very humble tonight in defeat, as was his camp. They stuffed the trash talking in the garbage can where it belongs. They were professional in the way they handled themselves after the bout. And I think Evander Holyfield probably appreciated that. As we said before, I don't think Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson ever personally disliked each other. I think Tyson's camp was trying to push him and motivate him, knowing that maybe Tyson had some doubts, and if Tyson got into a tough fight, he'd be in trouble.
Evander Holyfield said something else tonight I thought that was fascinating. He said he lost his real desire when Mike Tyson went away. That explained perhaps the lull in his career, as he was really somewhat lackluster. Of course, he had the 3 great fights with Riddick Bowe, but certainly against Bobby Ches, and certainly against Michael Moore, and certainly against Alex Stewart. He was not anywhere near the guy that we saw tonight. One other note about tonight. Dino Duva, who happens to be the promoter of Evander Holyfield, made a little side wager with the Nevada Booksies. He won $240,000 on his man's TKO win over Evander Holyfield. That concludes our coverage of the Mike Tyson-Evander Holyfield match. Evander Holyfield is the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world. We now send you back to our ESPN networks. On ESPN, SportsCenter is next. Stewart, you know, every once in a while, more than once in a while, we hear about boxing delivering another black eye to the sport or shooting its foot off. Tonight was a brilliant night for the sport, a magnificent performance for Evander Holyfield. He was a 25-1 underdog when the book opened on this fight. He was about an 8-1 underdog going into the ring, and lo and behold, Evander Holyfield beat Mike Tyson from stem to stern, and he is the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world. We are joined now, of course, by our intrepid crew of Val Bernstein and John Saraceno, and as we take a look at the highlights first of the early stages of this fight, watch Evander Holyfield. He never took a back step to this guy all night.
No, he moved forward constantly against Tyson there, landing little uppercuts. Probably the best moments that Tyson actually had in this bout occurred in round 5. And then from there on, it was downhill for Tyson. In round 1, Evander Holyfield coming forward, was hurt with the right hand, hit with the right hand from the get-go by Mike Tyson, but was able to shake it off and move ahead in round 1 and establish a certain rhythm to this fight.
Al, he tore a page right out of Buster Douglas's guide to beating Mike Tyson. He punched first, he moved forward first, he would grab and hold Tyson when necessary. And also, by the way, Tyson was initiating a lot of those clinches. There were a lot of low blows on the inside. Holyfield was getting hit with some low shots in the middle of the round, and it appeared that Holyfield was having some steam taken out of him. But by the 6th round, Holyfield came on, and that's when Tyson hit the deck.
The left hook sent Mike Tyson down. He'd been hurt by a left hook. This one hit it on the chest, sent him down. It did a number of things. For one thing, it gave Evander Holyfield a 10-8 round, but more importantly, gave him a lot of confidence in this fight. And from the 6th round on, I think Evander Holyfield, in his mind, said, I can't lose. And by the 10th round, he had Tyson in big trouble.
Tyson, in fact, said during the press conference here tonight, he has virtually no recollection of the fight from the 3rd round on. By the end of the 10th round, he was practically out on his feet. When he came out to begin the 11th round, he said he had no idea where he was, and from that point on, it was all Evander Holyfield finishing him off.
And in round 11, he got Tyson in trouble. And Mitch Halpern, who many people had talked about, a young, inexperienced referee, would he do the right thing? He stepped in at exactly the right time in the 11th round and stopped the fight. That took some guts because Mike Tyson is, after all, Mike Tyson.
So a star was born in the referee world tonight, and that was 29-year-old Mitch Halpern stopping the fight at the right time. Evander Holyfield defeating Mike Tyson, a TKO at 2 minutes and 23 seconds of round 11. Holyfield becomes only the second 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. Tyson knocked down for the 2nd time in his career. The Buster Douglas fight, of course, was the other. The press conference is continuing here at the MGM Grand, and we'll go now to some of the comments earlier, beginning with Holyfield.
When Mike went away, I kind of lost the desire. I lost something when Mike was gone. And because my whole thing, I felt that, well, wasn't nobody there that really got me up to fight. I have lost 2 times, lost the title 2 times, and I knew the only thing that would ever stop me if I quit on myself. The only thing I want to tell them, I gave my all. You know, my son cried when I lost against Riddick Bowe. He cried when I lost against Michael Moore. But I told him, I said, I gave my all. When you give your all, you can hold your head up high.
I just want to shake your hand, man. It's been so long. I just want to touch you.
Right on. That's what I want to see. Congratulations, Jim Brand.
A gracious Mike Tyson shaking hands with the only three-time heavyweight champion of the world beside Muhammad Ali. They keep talking about Evander Holyfield being the blown-up cruiserweight, the guy with the bad heart. Well, lo and behold, he has etched himself a place forever in heavyweight boxing history.
It was nothing short of an extraordinary performance by Evander Holyfield. We have seen extraordinary things from this man before, dating back to his cruiserweight days. Nothing even close to this, and I say again, it was a performance a winning performance based upon two things: tremendous preparation and good skills and a good tactical plan, and then the second thing, the heart and courage of Evander Holyfield.
And virtually nobody gave this guy any shot coming into this fight, John.
Are you trying to refer to my prediction that Tyson would knock out Holyfield in 2 rounds, Charlie?
And mine and Al's.
You're right. I picked Holyfield to be knocked out in the second round, mostly based on his recent performances. I thought that if he could get to Tyson early and make it of a fight, there was a chance he could extend it. But Evander just had not shown that physical condition and would allow him to go on into a tough fight. As it turned around, he swapped the tables on Mike Tyson. A brilliant performance by a great champion.
Evander Holyfield. And we'll be back a little bit later on this edition of Sports Center. So for John Saraceno and Al Bernstein, I'm Charlie Steiner, live at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Let's go back to Sports Center.
Is the real champ. I'm Anthony Keith James, and this is Headline Sports. Given barely a chance by anyone, Evander Holyfield guaranteed he would beat Mike Tyson and did just that. Saturday, Holyfield pummeled Tyson, staggering him before the fight was stopped 37 seconds of the 11th round for the WBA heavyweight crown.
You know, once when I say I believe, I believe. And when the Lord said it was mine, I knew it was mine. I guaranteed that I would win, and people kind of laughed at me.
I went in there, I fought and gave my best. I was tired and just kept fighting, and I got caught in some exchanges, and he fought a hell of a fight, and I just commend you. Thank you very much. I have the greatest respect for you.
Good morning. This is CNN Headline News. I'm Sachi Koto. It has to rank as one of boxing's all-time greatest upsets because the winner and new world champion is Evander Holyfield. He reclaimed the WBA heavyweight championship in Las Vegas last night by turning Iron Mike Tyson into a scrap heap. Dominating throughout the fight, Holyfield scored a technical knockout in the 11th round. The referee stopped the fight after Holyfield landed numerous crushing blows, with Tyson offering no defense. The new champ was asked about his underdog role.
Well, the whole thing is that it don't bother me because they don't give me a shot. When you start ruling out Jesus, that's Jesus still man. It's still the same one that when David slayed Goliath. He's same then, the same God is still here. Once when I say I believe, I believe. And when the Lord said it was mine, I knew it was mine. I guaranteed that I would win, and people kind of laughed at me.
Lost rhythm, and I really had lost confidence in my ability to do what it takes to win, but through prayer and my trainers and stuff that didn't give up on me. Sometimes I felt that my trainers just looked at me and they didn't. One said, man, you don't have it no more. They went along with the program.
You had a lackluster performance against Bobby Ches. You lost to Michael Moore, the Alex Stewart fight. And you said something tonight that caught my ear about how you may have lost your real desire with Mike Tyson away.
Well, yeah, the whole thing is that when you look at boxing, you look at the best guys. And I don't take nothing from other fighters, but the danger the guy is, the better you're going to be, because you realize that you're going to get your head knocked off if you ain't right. And Mike always kicked up a little desire in me to make me fight that way. When I fought Bo the first time, it was the same thing. But after I fought him one time, I realized that it sparked up for me to fight him harder the second time.
The interesting thing is you had a good plan to fight Mike Tyson. In addition to your prayer, in addition to your conditioning, which was extraordinary, you had the right plan. You came in knowing that you could push him off, hold him on the inside, jab him. What were some of the elements of that plan that really made it work for you?
Well, actually, I was led by the Holy Spirit. I prayed while I was in that fight and stuff like that. And I did. My corner people said, well, you're a smart fighter. Do what you want to do. like that. And I closed my eyes and started praying, and my trainer told me, said, "What you said?" I said, "I'm talking to God." Like that, and I just
Don't
prayed,
bother me.
And I just went out there, and but I have been watching Tyson so long, and I realized that when he dipped, he's gonna throw the left hook. I got to beat him with the right hand, and when he get in close, if he don't want to fight, just hold him right there, and he start holding my arm.
So you're saying some of those things, like countering with the right hand when he threw his right, jabbing him, pushing him off, holding him, you did those instinctually from watching the tapes?
Well, yeah, basically, because the whole thing is that your mind gonna come to the point of things that you have to do, and and it's all about prayer, and like that, because the whole thing is without prayer, I wouldn't have the desire.
You know, we always talk about it after you win or even after you lose. Are you going to fight again? Now, I understand prayer is going to be involved in all of this, but what are the ingredients beyond that will make you want to go forth or not?
Well, the whole thing is that it would probably have to be Mike Tyson again if I fought. Even as they talk about Michael Moore, I'm like, that would be good, and they talk about Leonard Stewart, that would be good, but the most important thing is that somehow, because Mike Tyson gave me an opportunity, it's always seemed like, well, I give him an opportunity back.
So it sounds like you're already talking rematch.
Well, it's possible, but there ain't nothing signed and solid that I will.
Now, you said coming in that Mike Tyson, if you push your bully back and you bully a bully, he'll give up. Would that help you in a rematch, the fact that you put your will over his in this bout?
Well, I think so much in a rematch that Mike know what type of fighter I am, and Mike will probably change his game plan. Either Mike gonna fight harder, or I'm gonna get him quicker. I'm saying, but usually winners come with a different attitude if they true winner, because their whole thing is they're not gonna come in and say, well, I can do the same performance, because you're gonna lose again.
So the passing of the torch here in Las Vegas tonight, Evander Holyfield shaking hands with former champion Mike Tyson. Champ, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm Dwayne Walker, Headline Sports. It was Saturday night at the fight with 3 heavyweight titles on the line, but who cares? The only one that mattered was for the WBA Championship of the World, in which Evander, the real deal Holyfield, rocked Mike Tyson's world. A stunning 11th round knockout. The fight was stopped at 37 seconds of round number 11. Evander Holyfield is the new WBA champion of the world and joins legendary Muhammad Ali as the only heavyweight to win the title 3 times.
Well, I did it with the Holy Spirit. Everybody kind of laughed around when you said something about God. And, my whole thing is I don't mind people doubting me. When you start doubting God, everybody starts saying, well, I think if he beat you, would you be an atheist and all that, when you do things like that, God show up and show his power. And, I give all credit to the Lord.
I went in there, I fought and gave my best. I was tired and just kept fighting. And I got caught in some exchanges, and he fought a hell of a fight. And I just commend you. Thank you very much. I have the greatest respect for you.
Has to rank as one of boxing's all-time greatest upsets. The winner and new world champion is Evander Holyfield. He reclaimed the WBA heavyweight championship in Las Vegas last night, knocking off 7-1 favorite Iron Mike Tyson. Holyfield scored a technical knockout in the 11th round, becoming champ for the 3rd time. Only one other fighter has ever done that, the greatest, Muhammad Ali.
It was a fight that will be remembered forever. 2 of today's greatest heavyweights went toe-to-toe. And the whole world watched the unbelievable happen. Be a witness to boxing history. Tyson versus Holyfield on America's #1 boxing network. Sunday evening at 8 o'clock on Showtime.